back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, so I am here today to do a book review, and the book that I'm going to be reviewing is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which is a classic, and this is by Lewis Carroll. This is the first classic I have picked up in ages, but it is a kids' book. I am actually doing a project on this for uni at the moment. I'm doing a project revolving around illustrating Alice in Wonderland, so I wanted to buy a copy of the book so that I could reread it and kind of figure out what I wanted to do and just immerse myself back in this world. But I have already read this book. I actually have a copy of it back at home, but obviously it wasn't at uni with me, so I needed to buy a new one. But I really like this edition. If you are wondering, this edition is the Macmillan Classics hardback. But this book is one that I read when I was a child, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely the sort of story that if you grow up loving it, then you're probably going to love it for the rest of your life. But some people who are adults and come to this book really don't get it, and they just don't see the appeal. So it's a bit of a mixed bunch of things. It's a really crazy story. It's very, very weird. There's a lot of nonsense and stuff that goes on. But for me, this is one of the best stories of my childhood, and I really enjoyed revisiting the world, revisiting the characters, and just enjoying re-immersing myself. What is this book all about if you've never heard of it before? This is the story of Alice, who is a young girl, and she is out one day with her sister and not really doing too much when suddenly Alice spots a white rabbit in a waistcoat. And she thinks that is rather peculiar, and then the white rabbit pulls out a little pocket watch and she thinks this is very peculiar. So she follows the rabbit when he hops off, and he hops down a big, big hole, and she follows him into the world of Wonderland. Wonderland is a bit crazy. There is all sorts that goes on in Wonderland. You never really know what you're going to find. It's all very like a sort of weird dream that you could imagine all these crazy things to go on. We meet Mad Hatters, we meet the Cheshire Cat, we meet various different people who are quite entertaining to read about. We meet some good guys, we meet some bad guys, and generally her adventure is exactly that, a big adventure around Wonderland. There's no real reason to the story, it's just she fell down this rabbit hole and is on this adventure. And definitely the ending is a little bit dissatisfying, but I think that it's just such a fun story, and there's a lot of elements that are really imaginative, and certainly for the times they are really imaginative, because this was written in like the 1800s at some point. Definitely can see why people have an issue with this book, because Alice herself is quite a spoiled rich child, and you get the impression throughout this book that she is kind of very demanding and she does like things her own way. For me, this isn't a problem because I just always grew up knowing that that was her personality, and I don't think you can help the fact that it was written in the 1800s. At the time, you know, the poor children of that world were not reading books, so it wasn't going to appeal to a rich child to really read about the poor as much. I definitely understand people's concerns and complaints about Alice herself, but I do get it in terms of the context of the times. I think it kind of is appropriate for the times that Lewis Carroll was writing in. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about, because obviously the times have changed and it's not all just rich kids anymore. But I do like Alice, even though she is a little bit spoiled, because she does question things. She's quite an intelligent child and she does question people. There's a lot of scenes throughout this book where she is introduced to strange characters who give her riddles and say very peculiar poems and all sorts of very odd things. So I really like her character in the fact that she questions these people, and the play on words in this book is really entertaining to read about. So I would highly recommend this. If you've never read it before, definitely pick it up and give it a go. Also, this edition and most editions of Alice in Wonderland that you will find are illustrated. This one is the original illustrations from John Tenniel, which is great. So we have the white rabbit there as he is getting ready to fall down his hole with his pocket watch and stuff. So I really like the white rabbit. And then this edition also has coloured illustrations, which is really, really nice. The colours were added a lot later on, but I think it's really nice to see the colours of these things, and it brings it a little bit more to life, and it's really nice. So here we got Alice and the Cheshire Cat, and the Cheshire Cat's one of my all-time favourite characters. I think he is wonderful. And this is one of my favourite scenes within Alice in Wonderland, where she meets these servants who are the servants to the Red Queen, and they are painting the white roses red because they ordered the wrong roses and they planted the wrong roses. So instead of digging them up and planting red roses, they are just painting them in the hopes that the Red Queen won't notice, and I think that is hilarious, so I really enjoy it. Generally, I just think this book is very entertaining. It's obviously loved by many people because I'm sure you guys know there are many adaptations of Alice in Wonderland. We've had the Disney adaptation, we've had the Tim Burton adaptation, we've had various different games as well. If you've never heard of the American McGee game for Alice, then that is a much darker, more aimed at teenagers, twisted version of Alice in Wonderland, and it's so creepy and it's really awesome. I love it. There are loads of interpretations and versions of Alice in Wonderland out there. If you don't want to read the book, you can definitely pick up a game or pick up the DVDs of various different interpretations, but it's just a really fun story, and I think it's one that I can see why people enjoy, and I really enjoy myself. And of course, for that reason, I really loved it and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I'll definitely be reading this again at some point in my life, and it's one of those books I will definitely read to my kids if I ever have kids, and I just really enjoy this. So if you guys like this book, or even if you don't, definitely tell me in the comments because I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little